Well, joining us on the program tonight, two former diplomats, Ambassador K.C. Singh and Ambassador Vivek Karchu. Lisa Curtis of the Heritage Foundation joins us via Skype from Washington tonight, and Admiral Javed Iqbal, defense analyst and former diplomat himself, joins us tonight from Lahore. Lisa Curtis, my first question to you tonight. The two leaders will be meeting in the next few minutes. Would you say that the top three items on the agenda would be Afghanistan, Pakistan's support to terror groups, and of course its nuclear arsenal?
Yes, I think that's probably accurate. I think if Nawaz Sharif tries to raise these allegations of Indian meddling in Pakistan, that message will largely fall on deaf ears. And I think the response would be from President Obama, what is Pakistan doing to crack down on
Right. Well, Lisa, we're just going to try and fix your audio line. I do apologize for that. Admiral Javed Iqbal, let me ask you, who's listening to Pakistan's complaints about India's alleged meddling in Balochistan and elsewhere? Isn't it falling on deaf ears? Is it a futile attempt in the first place?
We don't want anybody to listen. The realities are there on the ground, and I think your Prime Minister is proving it. He has done enough damage to India. We want India to listen and not anybody else. And we don't care even if India doesn't listen, because it is the India who is going to suffer. I think as far as the United States is concerned, it is very obvious they have accepted the role of Pakistan in the ongoing, war in the region with Afghanistan, and unless that is settled, and they have accepted our stance. That is why they are rewarding us with 8 F-16 fighters. So we don't care what you think or what your journalist or what your...
If Pakistan doesn't care what the international community thinks or what India thinks, why are you sending dossiers to the United States apparently, or saying that you're going to give dossiers to India? You don't care, then don't give us dossiers.
Because that is the requirement. Because that is the requirement. We have been, Nawaz Sharif has been very soft, has been very cordial, has been very friendly. And people thought, that everything is fine from the other side. But now I think India's real face is visible to everybody, to Christian, to Dalits, and to everybody, Muslim particularly. And even, in sports, in cricket, and everybody, people have seen, even in book launch. So the real face of India is quite visible to everybody else. So I think this is enough proof. Now, Pakistan will have to, unleash and undo the real things, the role played by India in Balochistan and in Karachi.
All right, so let me get Ambassador K.C. Singh into this. Ambassador K.C. Singh, what do you think explains then what is certainly seen as a desperate attempt by Islamabad to rake up Kashmir, to point fingers at India? In fact, that desperation seems to be more and more apparent as the two countries, continue to move away from the dialogue process. Mr. Singh.
Well, we know Pakistan has been trying to keep the focus on this. Now, the question is there a change of policy? Is there a rethink in US? We have to be careful about that, because I think they may be beginning to look afresh at Pakistan as an ally in the larger stabilization of the area, because Russia having come into Syria and the Chinese getting sucked into Pakistan and Iran getting involved in it, there is a Shia-Sunni thing. There's a larger concern in US to get more allies on the Sunni side. So we should not treat Pakistan as out on a limb. There may be, Obama tends to outsource his foreign policy goals and use surrogates. So there may be a rethink taking place. Otherwise, we would not have heard of a civil nuclear deal which has begun to surface in Washington between US and Pakistan, considering where Pakistan is located. And Pakistan has done 2 or 3 things. It has changed its NSA, put a retiring general there who was serving in Quetta. So having served in Quetta, he will go to Washington and speak with certain authority on Balochistan and what he thinks is the situation there, because he was dealing with the southern dealing with the southern part of Pakistan. Secondly, I don't overestimate. A number of thinkers here have been writing that US needs Pakistan in Afghanistan. Well, US President has said he will continue to have troops there. There is concern, and they will hold Pakistan to their commitments. But that alone may not be the reason that the nuclear deal is being dangled. I think they need Pakistan for a larger game. And we have to be careful.
But I have
and therefore,
to ask,
simply saying we will not talk or putting conditions.
No, of course they need Pakistan, and I mean, contrary to what Admiral Javed Iqbal is saying, the fact is it's not because the US really sees Pakistan as an ally. I think it sees Pakistan as really there's no alternative. I mean, who else are they going to talk to or give jets to in order to fight this terror menace? But the point is, Ambassador Karju, that this whole talk of a civil nuclear deal, isn't it a non-starter? I mean, I know that people have been writing about it, the possibility is being written about, but do you really see a situation where there can be parity with India when you look at Pakistan's non-proliferation or proliferation record rather, and the abysmal record that the country has? Can this ever pass muster within the US and at the nuclear suppliers group?
Well, the nuclear suppliers group is another matter. But obviously there have been some discussions between the US and Pakistan on the nuclear issue. And they have been in the direction of a nuclear deal, a civil nuclear deal. What will be the contours of that deal is open to question. But if you permit, Nidhi, I'd like to make a small comment. Of course, Pakistan has a larger use, as Casey is saying, but to me, primarily Pakistan's use is in the South Asian context and in the context of Afghanistan. That is the primary concern of the Americans at the moment. They don't want Afghanistan ever to become a center from where attacks can be launched on the American mainland. And that is why I think the American troops are remaining there. And they will put pressure on the Pakistanis to deliver on Afghanistan. I'm not quite certain whether the Pakistanis will. Pakistan has always played a very, very clever and devious game with the Americans and has taken the Americans for a ride for a number of years, if not decades, on Afghanistan and on South Asia. And I think that tendency will continue. There is also the tradition in America of looking the other way on the Pakistani strategic nuclear program. Now that is a matter which is there before us, the introduction of the acknowledgement, the official acknowledgement of tactical nukes. I think all this needs to be very carefully looked at by Indian strategic planners.
And therefore, how do you see then, Mr. Karju, this whole sort of ratcheting up on Kashmir, taking it to the United States, this talk of these dossiers, even talking about tactical nuclear weapons? What does that indicate to you from Pakistan?
I think they are two are separate. The Kashmir issue is largely to assuage a domestic audience and the Kashmiri separatists, that Pakistan is following the old policy. There is a continuum in policy of raising Kashmir in the international fora at every conceivable opportunity, and that there is no give as far as India is concerned. The tactical nukes thing, I think, is more of a signal to the Americans
exactly.
that Pakistan will be willing to be pushed so far on the strategic nuclear issue, but not beyond that. And that on tactical nukes, they made it quite apparent that there is no give. And that is why I would think that Indian strategic planners would have to seriously consider, I'm not saying they'll have to change at this stage, but they'll have to very seriously consider our own strategic doctrine.
I just want to go back to Lisa Curtis.
We can't adopt a lazy approach on our strategic nuclear doctrine at this.
Right.